Happy holidays!
Greetings, and greetings.
Let me slide in the right.
Yes, please do.
Let me get a little bit more.
Yeah, man, do
Let me
that.
get nice and personal.
You know what I mean? Oh,
Hi,
come on,
people.
come over here.
How are you guys?
It's been a
Thank
good
you.
weeks. And so far, right?
Well, for the students,
yeah.
you guys got
4 days.
each week you only have 4 days of school. How hype are you right now?
Dope.
And this is why this week's show may be of interest to some,
Some.
and maybe of interest or not of interest to some. For most people, when you think holidays, because we just celebrated Thanksgiving, I think they celebrated Columbus Day in America. And actually, this was Dave's idea, the holiday thing. It was. No, but I think it's important. Listen, I'm not throwing you under the bus.
Really,
I'm not. No.
I feel like you went off
agree.
to war.
No.
With
I
no
agree
vest,
with this
no
one.
nothing.
No, listen. I do agree with this show because, again, Dave and I were talking we've done over a year and a half worth of shows, almost 2 years worth of shows. Okay, and the shows, whether they were interviews or whether they were forums like this where we're teaching. This is stuff that we're going to continue to archive because I talk about narrative a lot. We talk about changing the narrative for our people and we speak about it, but then not a lot of people are actually doing it, right? Like we have to do something more to change the narrative. All of us have to do things collectively. And this is Dave and our way of changing the narrative is again, finding ways to share this history to our people. So that they understand, listen, for me, holidays are wicked. I'm like, you guys can keep flinging on holidays. I'll take all of them. But there's some of them that need to be understood because...
No, in fact, all of them need to be understood.
All of them need to be understood. But some of them, I honestly, some of the ones were just like, give like Thanksgiving. Like, this is a what? Some things happened on Thanksgiving for some people. Like, some of us were getting skinned. Maybe I should be taking that. I'm going too far. Right?
Well, you know,
I'm going too far. Maybe we should just...
We'll just leave it right
I'll
there.
pass it over. The lecture continues.
The lecture continues.
With Sir Dave Rankin.
Oh,
because I didn't even introduce. I just went right into it because I am kind of interested in today about this topic.
Yeah.
So let me introduce my co-host with the most.
Capital T. Most.
Sir Dave Rankin. Welcome, sir.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
So, you know what? People sometimes say we go on foolish. Bon you.
Stop it.
I don't care. Like, don't tell me, how am I going to change who I am? I am foolish.
Listen, everybody has a different learning style and wants to see something differently, right?
Then don't watch this.
Yes, stick catching out your ears.
Yeah, don't come on and judge. Come out, guy.
Stop it.
Anyways, you teach it. Let me see your teaching style.
Oh, boy.
So, what are we going to learn? Oh, wait. God, we can't do that. We got to introduce the lady who's making me look so, brown.
Yes, you look very.
And YouTube.
Yes, very, right? All type of.
Miss Anisha. Nisha's. Well, go on, girl. You're good? She did raise the roof over there. All right, Dave. Let's take this. Let's go through this, bro. Let's take it. Let's start this because we have some information to go to. Did we have a video? We didn't start So Dave put the show together today too, guys.
See that? I was waiting for that one too.
Did we have a video to start or anything?
We can throw one in later. I mean, you know what?
Later though, is there a structure to this?
Listen, hold on. People want to hear. I'll talk to you in a moment, but people want to hear what is actually what we're dealing with. Okay.
Okay.
Because you and I had an agreement. That looks like it's something that didn't happen.
But
anyways, the general focal point for today's session is this. We're looking at 3 themes pretty much to get out. So we'd like to go ahead and give you an understanding of some of the major European holidays, 4 of them today. Thanksgiving, as we mentioned, Columbus Day, Halloween, as well as Remembrance Day. However, though, I do have an African holiday here as well in my notes, depending on what time permits. Right? I would love to go ahead and throw this in as an alternative because the people are going to be asking, what should we do from here on in? Right? And
just take holiday.
We may have an alternative.
What do you mean? What do you do?
We take holiday?
Just take a holiday. If they want to give you a holiday, take it, yes, with pay.
Of course. Of course we're going to take it in regards to having a day off from work, right? But we're looking at the celebrations behind it as well, right? Because, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with wanting to get together with your family.
But that's all I care about.
Exactly.
I just want to eat food, Bridget.
Right. But let's look at Thanksgiving where, of course, we've been taught one thing, and then, of course, with the information we will present as now teaching us a different thing. Should we still continue to
Celebrate Thanksgiving? No, I just said tech holiday.
All right.
I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but I take the holiday.
Right.
Absolutely, I will.
Excellent, right? So that's right. This is our second point in regards to the emotional bond, of course, that we do have with some of these holidays.
Yeah.
Right. The majority of it, of course, is seeing our family together.
Yeah.
Right. Some of us really get down deep and dirty into it in regards to like all types of food, all types of, with Halloween, of course, you know, the dressing of the houses and so on and so forth, right? But
People
I mean, you know,
take it
like
there. There's some
exactly
cool ones,
that
though.
bond, right? And at the end of the day, of course, you know, like we mentioned it briefly, like none of these holidays, not one, had us in mind at the time of its inception. So those are the three things that we like to go ahead and get through today.
All right.
So let's get into Thanksgiving.
All right.
Do
we have a video?
Why not? Go ahead. I think we have a video for Thanksgiving, don't we? Sure, go right ahead. Play that.
Chanadino?
Yeah, by me, play that one there. Really informal today, I know.
To most Americans, the Pilgrims of Plymouth, Massachusetts are the iconic inspiration for today's Thanksgiving feast. After the winter of 1620 killed almost half of their people, the colonists formed a relationship with the neighboring Wampanoag tribe, who taught them about fishing, planting, and hunting. By autumn of 1621, the colonists had collected enough food to feed the community through the coming winter. The Wampanoags joined the colonists for a 3-day feast in honor of their bounty. The feast probably did not include our modern Thanksgiving staple, turkey. More likely, the colonists and Wampanoags dined on roast goose, along with corn, codfish, and lobster. This 1621 harvest meal is now commonly thought of as the first Thanksgiving.
Right, so that's a little introduction there in regards to Thanksgiving.
Okay. Thanksgiving, but we need that.
Right, but I mean, let's go back just a little bit further in regards to just prior to the Pilgrims arriving.
Okay.
Right,
Let's
on
do this.
Plymouth Rock, right, so to speak, right? All right, so the Pilgrims, they're descendants of the Protestant Reformation, which began under the reign of King Henry VIII. Right, and we're looking at around King Henry VIII, he lived from anywhere about 1509 to 1547. Right, the same Protestants we're looking at Martin Luther King, in regards to who we know now of, right? The real Martin Luther, this is where he got his name from, that whole regime, that movement, right? And then how they began was this,
Okay.
right?
See, there was some knowledge I didn't know. So where did the name Martin Luther King? Because you kind of went through that really quick. Where did that come from?
Right, so Martin Luther, the real Martin Luther, he was a Protestant.
Okay.
Right, and I'll get into regards to who they are right now.
Okay.
Right, simply they were protesting against, of course, the Roman Church at that time. Because simply, the more money that you had, the bigger the blessing that you received. And these are one of the biggest things that they went ahead and preached against. It sounds hilarious, yes.
It sounds the same. Nothing's changed. That's why I'm laughing, because I'm like, oh.
It is hilarious, though. But you just
Wow.
can think, right? Imagine, the more money you give, of course, the larger, of course.
The larger blessings you get.
Right. So back then, listen, man, they weren't down for it. King Henry now, being, of course, the opportunist that he was, he had married Catherine, his first wife, and wanted a divorce, but the Roman Catholic Church wouldn't give him a divorce. So what did he do? He joined the Protestants. He backed their movement. Right?
Okay.
And so from then, of course, he's able to go and divorce Catherine. He married Anne, which gave him Mary Tudor. Right? And this name comes up, who we're speaking of now, is very important. And the reason I say that is this. We've heard of Bloody Mary, yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm going to guys to that whole story, because that whole Bloody Mary or Bloody Hell and Bloody this comes from, of course, from Mary Tudor. Now, once he joined the movement, right, and was able to go ahead and produce his heir, of course, he gave them a bunch of things, right, reforms and so on and so forth. You get the Archbishop Church, the Archbishop of England, Canterbury Church now. He's now given a position, well respected, so on and so forth, right? After King Henry dies, Mary Tudor takes up the battle, right? She remembers all these things, including, of course, the divorce, because in the process, I believe, if not Catherine or her mother, her head was beheaded. God offered her head clean. I know, right? So she remembers these things, right? So, of course, in doing so, a 16-year-old Mary Tudor, who's now in charge, of course, this whole land, right? The first she says, of course, off with their heads. So she ended up slewing, I don't know, maybe 200 to 300 of them at that point in time. But this is where you get the reign, of course, now of Bloody Mary.
Okay.
Right? But, of course, this is just the beginning of of course, what's going on here as we're approaching the break, we'd love to go ahead and dive into a little bit more for our people.
Yeah, because we have so much. Yeah, you're gonna have to like find a way to taper some of this. So
Don't worry. I mean, it's just the first segment. I mean, by means, of course, we're not looking to get into everything, but we're looking to go ahead and set up an actual picture. Because right now we have a bunch of people who are now, who believe not only, of course, are protesting, of course, what's going on in the Roman Catholic Church, right? But they want to go ahead and get away from some unscrupulous behavior as well.
So when you come back, we'll hear more about unscrupulous behaviors. We'll see you soon on Here to Help You.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Welcome back, guys.
Greetings. There.
Dave, sometimes I just don't understand.
What don't you understand? I would like to know this.
I simply ask.
Yes.
Because we have a few holidays to go through, and I have a feeling we're not going to get through all these
Listen,
holidays.
man, I have 5 holidays that I would love to get through here today. Right?
Right.
4 is our aim, right? The 5th will be a bonus. I mean, of course, we can always put this into another show, right?
All right.
But
so go on with it now. Thanksgiving, guys. We're on Thanksgiving.
yes,
We're on this holiday.
So we left out, of course, a Bloody Mary. Now, once she leaves vacates the throne and Queen Elizabeth I now, of course, she comes into play, right? She brings back some of the reforms, right? But still, of course, there's some wavering of tensions there as well, right? And now with Queen Elizabeth, she now takes over the reign of the slave trade. Excuse me, the African genocide. I'm sorry, but right here at camera 1, right? So
I knew this.
okay, great.
I'm good. I know where,
Yeah, yeah, I see that.
Well, okay, great. Run with this.
Right. So, long story short, we're looking now of people now who've been they felt oppressed, right? So now, not only do they feel oppressed, but of course they feel like the church or the larger church, of course, didn't back them. So you have to go and start their own thing, right? So of course they have this spirit in them as well now, right? This fighting spirit, right? Now, after Elizabeth I dies, King James comes along, right? And now him, of course, now being at the helm, right into, of course, the meat and potatoes of the African genocide as well. He didn't like the Protestants, so of course he had them shipped off, right? So now you have tension in England, and of course, these set of people now, of course, being shipped off to another land, right? And this is where you have now pilgrims now coming into the Americas or landing on Plymouth Rock.
So these are the people who were shipped out of England because of the tension there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely, right? And as soon as they got online, as soon as the video shows, of course, half of them died out. There was a few of them, in fact, who led to cannibalism because they had to survive. There's countless stories in regards to cannibalism which took place among the pilgrims, right? Not only just that, but after the video from the previous segment shows, right, that first feast, even though the Indians showed them a few things, but of course, why do it when you can have somebody else do it for us? And so this is the mentality they came with. So now, of course, they come with the weaponry, which the Indians at that point in time could not match, right? And so they enslaved them. They had them working in the fields, by means, of course, like other stories that we've heard of, right? Yeah. But when we look at, of course, now in regards to Thanksgiving and this whole realm in regards to Thanksgiving, right? You have an attitude of a people now who've now have always been wanting to conquer, right? They've always looked to conquer. So this is what Thanksgiving is predicated on. Of course, one set of people conquering another set of people, right? And of course, giving thanks for, of course, reaping the benefits.
Interesting. So Thanksgiving is really about conquering and being thankful that you've conquered?
Being in power. The people in power.
Okay.
Right. That's just
everyone's we all just like, oh, let's give thanks.
Right. And
which is I'm glad that we see it like that. Truly. I'm glad that we've taken it like that, where we're like, yeah, this is about giving thanks for what we have. But the deep truth is, these are people, it came about because they were thankful, because they were pillaging and
Yeah, of course.
taking from people.
Of course, and not even just that. I mean, that's just one story in regards to Thanksgiving. There's another in regards to, of course, when the Moors went into Spain, right? And they had their last stronghold in Granada, when Ferdinand as well as Isabella, two cousins, right? Cousins who married to bring about the more strength upon Spain. They went and ransacked them that last time, that last stronghold in Granada, right? And when they did, it was said that everybody fell down to their knees to give thanks because they've now taken back their land. Right?
Okay, so that one I can see.
But still, Spain, these people didn't even know how to bathe. If it wasn't for the Moors who went in there and established bathhouses, it'd still stink.
If you're Spanish, I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. I mean, this is history.
This is your history.
This is history. These people did not know how to bathe. It's documented that when these Moors, these Africans went in to Spain,
Them smell like dirt.
they established bathhouses. They taught them how to bathe.
Yeah.
Right? So, of course, they reaped the benefit because Spain was at its height of its glory for 700 years.
After.
We're talking about during the reign, of course, when the Moors were there.
Okay, when
right?
the Moors were there.
When the Moors were there, they've been on decline since. Since they kicked out all the Moors, they've been on the decline since.
Sorry, guys. At least you're bathing now.
At least they're bathing. So, clean.
You're clean.
Clean every day.
You're a clean failure.
Clean every day.
All right. Wow. So that was interesting. Thanks.
No worries.
That gave a little bit. You know what? I've heard other things about Thanksgiving, so this was a little bit of a different perspective. So thanks for that. I heard like they used to pull off people, leg them and call it a leg, and
there's documents. There's a
Yeah.
book called The Story of Virginia, right? And I think it's in book 3 where it's a little bit more detailed.
yeah, when they were eating people.
Where a husband had to eat his wife, literally had to eat his wife, right, to survive. And that's just cannibalism. Not in talking about, of course, the underage sex that they had to deal with, the sodomization, like I said, what they were dealing with as well. These were unscrupulous people. When you look at it, when you hear Donald Trump speaking in regards to Mexico, oh, they're not sending us their best, right? This is a practice that the Europeans have done countless and countless of times. You can't tell me not one of those so-called Puritans who arrived on Plymouth Rock were pure. We're the best.
Dave's going off.
You understand? Listen back. Come on. Don't play with me. Don't play with
Dave
me.
is not playing today.
Don't play
you
me.
Puritans.
Listen.
Unscrupulous people.
Of course. Let's talk about Columbus Day.
All right. I know we're
Right?
taking it there, right?
Let's go right into Columbus.
Let's go into Columbus Day.
Because, of course, we look at Thanksgiving here in Canada, and it's only because of politics.
Yeah.
Little brother want to separate from big brother in regards to, of course, wanting to have different days. But at one point in time, they both celebrated the same day. Yes. Right? So politics. Bro. So Columbus Day, celebrated on the first Monday. Well, this is the first Monday. I believe it's the first Monday in October.
In October.
Right.
Yeah.
Either first or second Monday. No, it's actually second Monday because they celebrate the same time as our Thanksgiving. So Canadian Thanksgiving, the second Monday.
First Monday.
Second.
Okay.
Second Monday in October.
You're the scholar.
Right. And the American one is the fourth Thursday in November.
In November.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So Columbus Day. And just to backtrack just a little bit, the majority of the holidays that I've come across, and not just myself, big up brother Shaduzi, who's done this work with me, big up brother Derek as well, Derek Williams, who have done this, who actually laid out a foundation for us to go ahead and do this work.
Thanks. Appreciate you guys.
Right? A lot of these holidays were created out of fear. All right, and I say that as this, and especially with regards to Columbus Day, right? Christopher Columbus, and especially with Spain, right? They were running out of trade routes, so of course they came to the New World looking for new riches, so to speak. Right, gold, spices, anything they can go to get their hands and bring back, right? And it's so interesting because when they set sail in the wrong direction.
You guys started stripping.
No, for real. I believe if my memory does serve me, and by means, of course, those who know the story, please correct me. I think they wanted to go to India, but ended up, of course, going a round route. And ended up sailing for days and days and days. Of course, ended up in the Americas, right? But what history doesn't show us, and some of us we don't take into account. Bless you over there. No worries, right? There were Africans who were on board with him, shipmen, right? Who actually, sailed, take this journey with Christopher Columbus, right? One especially Pedro Nino Alonso, right? Yeah, you know, so we as much as we want to go ahead and look at them in regards to our destruction, right? We need to have an open and honest conversation in regards to what our role is as well.
Yeah, Pedro. What was he doing? Chef.
Right? And
Pedro.
And it's only by luck and chance because the crew, of course, sailing for days and days, right? The crew got, of course, very, very upright. And it's like, okay, you know what? This guy, he's not leading us anywhere. We're going to throw this guy overboard.
They flung up Pedro?
No, Christopher Columbus.
They flung up Christopher Columbus?
Well, they were going to until, of course, they discovered land.
He's so lucky. They should have fling him out.
Of course, you know, to celebrate Christopher Columbus and Columbus Day is to celebrate a legacy of genocide, slavery, rape, and as well as plunder. Because what he set in motion, you know, we as a people haven't recovered from it yet. Right? It is said that, which island? I believe it was Hispaniola, National Bahamas, or the Taínos who were there, how they were, of course, in an abundance of people. But after he got through that island, they were down to like no more than maybe 12,000 people, right? So they were just yanking people, taking people from their lands, right? Of course, for sport.
Wow. Okay. Columbus Day.
Right. So I mean, anybody who observed Columbus Day, by means, you know what, like you have to really check yourself on that.
I think for people, again, this is just a day off, but it's important to understand what that day represents and the fact that it should it even be a holiday? That's my thing. Like, how are we celebrating genocide?
Right. That's probably the major important thing as well, right? Because now a lot of us don't want to come off the money. Right, so of course, certain days that we don't feel that we should go ahead and observe, we're still going to take the holiday anyways because, of course, it's a free day from labor.
Take the holiday, yes?
Yes, right? But at the same time, I mean, it's like...
The holiday, though, what it stands for.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So where do our priorities come?
Yeah.
Right, so to speak. Right? Unless you're an entrepreneur, right? Where now your priorities are, of course, within yourself, building up within your community, so on and so forth.
I worked on Columbus Day.
Right? So, by means...
Take that. Anyhow.
See you there.
It don't matter. I worked on Thanksgiving too. Yep. So. We don't observe Columbus Day. It's in North America. Anisha, this is details. Seriously.
We just call it Thanksgiving.
Listen,
in this country. That's all.
Listen, I'm gonna deal with Anisha, and we'll talk about all this when we get back.
I'm talking about the world Christopher Columbus did not discover. But I'm talking about what Christopher Columbus set in motion, because he set in motion, in his period set in motion, an act of criminality that influences our very life today. It laid the basis for Western racism. It laid the basis for misconceptions about people. It laid the basis for extensive use of organized religion as a rationale for the enslavement of people. It's a reoccurring event in history, and it told us as if nothing has told us before that history is never old. Everything that ever happens continues to happen.
The Honorable Dr. Jan Henrik Clark.
Yes.
Such wisdom.
Very.
I wish I could have met him. He's one person I would love to have met. Meet.
An interview, would have been
That'd be cool
wonderful.
with him.
Just a conversation. I know he spent time up here in Toronto. Of course, during the lecture circuit, right? I believe it was Raps. I think they used to have quite conversations over by Raps, though, out of Eglinton. So, big up, look at Jamaica.
Always, every time. I have to come close again.
Come in, man. Come in.
Right.
Yeah, man. Miss me all good,
You do today.
Thank you very much.
Just today, the Moors must have come to our house.
Yes. They instructed me the wisdom of bathing.
We have back houses set up all on Weston Road. All right.
No, the only bathhouse I have is inside mine.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Come with it.
All right. So, as you mentioned before in the previous break, to observe Columbus Day is to go ahead and actually observe the continuing of a genocide. He was the second rise or second coming of the European, coming into, of course, the enslavement or interaction with us as Africans, right? We haven't recovered since, right? Of course, with the first rise being Constantine, and of course, Columbus being the second, right? So the countless wars, the countless struggles, the countless families that these people went ahead and took part in regards to tearing us apart, from John Hopkins, who stole at least 20 million people from the continent, from our motherland, to, of course, just the atrocities, man. I mentioned a brief stat, and I found the correction to it. So the island of Hispaniola, Hispaniola, I hope I'm saying it right. That's pretty much one half Haiti, the other half Dominican Republic.
That's pretty good. Hispaniola.
Hispaniola.
Yeah.
Sorry, my Spanish, my French.
No, it's okay.
Terrible.
Don't worry.
Right. Population was about 8 million people prior to Columbus. When Columbus got his filthy and greedy hands on it, we looked at about 12,000 people afterwards.
Yeah, you got called out.
Right. So
Columbus.
It's terrible. It's a thing that by means,
and
I don't know.
teach our children about this man.
Yeah, how
and
you
school,
how you
and
discovered,
honor him.
The song 1492, right? Columbus sailed the ocean blue, right?
Like this man did something honorable.
It's terrible, man. It's terrible. But once again, these holidays, all these things that never created, with us in mind, and more importantly, right? It goes to show the mentality, the fear. Out of fear, a lot of these holidays have been created out of. Like this next one, Halloween.
So before we go there, so you know what I do on the sly? When my students come to, like, Simone, oh my God, we have to write. This is so boring. We've got to write about Columbus, or we've got to write about this, or we have to write about this war. And I'm like, I always tell my students, always write it from your perspective.
Yes.
Never write it from their perspective.
Too many of us have a fantasy.
Yeah, let's write it. Don't know. Let's talk about, if they're asking you something, write it from, if you were a black person.
For real.
When Christopher Columbus was around, write that story. That's a little bit more intense than the story they want you to paint and glorify people. Anyhow. Right, from your perspective, students. All right.
For real. This next holiday created from fear. Halloween.
Hallows Eve.
Yes, Halloween. I don't know. Should we run the video first? Actually, you know what? No, let's let me stay here for a bit, and we can always go into the intro or the outro.
Okay, so run the video and the outro. Yeah,
we're running on the outro. This was created out of fear from their ancestors. So you're looking at the Celtics, or the Celtics, as we like to call them now, right? So the group of people, of course, who were in Africa, right? The priests, the Druids, as well, who were part of the Celtic culture, right? So they're taking the knowledge with them outside of Africa, and they settled in Ireland. Right, and when this, with this knowledge, of course, is the agricultural, how to learn how to plant, how to reap when the time is right. Of course,
Farmer's Almanac.
There we go. Right, and also understanding in regards to the power of light and darkness. Right, when we speak in regards to light, in regards to, of course, the spring and summer months, the darkness being, of course, the autumn going into winter. Right, so they created this, of course, now because of the fear that they had, of their ancestors coming back. During this one period of time, right? And of course,
Hallows Eve.
There we go, right? It is believed that October 31st, that all of their people or ancestors who died during the past year would rise up with the Lord of Darkness and capture them.
Doppy come back.
Doppy Conqueror. You see me? Right? So they're in their culture, they pretty much observe two periods, right? Of course, the Halloween and the other one, which was Beltane, which is at the beginning of summer, right? Halloween or Samhain or Samhain, right? Which one was called, right? Which was the division between two worlds. In this case, of course, opening that portal where, of course, these ancestors would come through.
Doppy come back.
Yes, right? And because of their fear, because they didn't like their ancestors, right? So they dressed up.
To try to scare them?
Well, not just to scare them, but of course, you know what? Just imagine this. You have this thought that your ancestors, of course, be walking like, you know, like the Walking
Dead.
Right? And of course, they're walking the streets looking for their treats, right? So the trick was that they dressed up like them. So ghosts, ghouls, you know, of course, and acts, you know, that was the trick. So if you
look like a Duppy, the Duppy won't catch you.
See it there?
I get it.
Right?
Okay.
The treat, of course, was now the meals, right? Preparing, leaving, I don't know, maybe leaving a pie at the door, right, with a candle so that they can come by, of course, and partake.
The Duppy them.
Exactly. Right? So this is your trick or treat.
It's not even about candy, Bridget. It's about pie.
Yeah, but you know, pie.
Just joking. No, it's not really about candy. So people so you're dressing up because you want trick Duppy.
Right.
Pretty much.
That's it. That's the fear that they had, and that's how everything came out.
Actually kind of cool, you know. I like that story better.
But here's the thing with all of that. You know, politics comes into play, right? So now we're looking at the black cat, right? We now know the black cat as in regards to like this evil, carrying this evil entity or evil spirit.
Bad luck.
Okay, great. But in Kemet, the black cat, this Basset figure, right? It's the same Basset in Black Panther, right? A sign of fertility.
The black cat.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right. So now, of course, this imagery gets misconstrued, and then you have stories like the Mummy.
Yes.
Right, who come out on Halloween.
Yes.
Right? And if you notice, of course, a lot of these things, the murderings, the killing, and so on and so forth, what time of the day did these things happen?
Evening.
Thank you very much.
Speaking of which,
no trouble idea time, you know.
Little plug. Halloween, the movie, Michael Myers is back, bro. Let me show you how, I'm sorry, I have an appreciation for Michael Myers.
Listen, man, some of us have an appreciation in regards to the storytelling.
Yes, it's the story behind him.
I get that. I don't fault anybody from understanding or loving the storytelling.
He's the wickedest Duppy conqueror.
The Duppy conqueror. He's not a Duppy conqueror.
He conquers everything. Live people, dead people. This man is gangster, Regin. Like, I love me some Michael Myers.
For real, I understand. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like, I can't fault nobody for wanting to go in and continue. You know, but at the end of the day, in regards to now, if we're looking at us as wanting to liberate our minds, right, then we have to begin to go ahead and disassociate with the fantasy, right, the fantastic view that we have of these holidays.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Candy and that.
Right. And, you know, and begging mommy and daddy for $100 costume.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, man.
The Duppy, just rip up some sheets like we used to, fling it over your head and call yourself a Duppy. That's what we did. You know, cut some holes in the eyes.
The politics of it, right? We're looking now of All Saints Day, right? Back in the Catholic Church, of course, recognizing Halloween now, right, as this holiday because a lot of the people, you know, which used to go ahead and celebrate this day. So they moved All Saints Day from in May to November 1st to compete with Halloween.
So I know you said you had a video. That's a lot of politics there. Can we show this video before we go right into our commercial break?
Yeah, that means let's do it.
And when we come back, we'll follow up with our last one, which is Remembrance Day.
Remembrance Day, and we might just get that African holiday to go ahead and observe in there as well, man.
We'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, man.
Ooh.
Very cool. Halloween today is more popular than it's ever been. They played the Monster Man. Kids and adults alike try on new faces and do things they wouldn't dream of doing any other night. Opened the lid and shook his fist. Reveling in an ancient holiday of fear and fun that goes back 3,000 years, all the way to Ireland and its Celtic tribes, who peered into the world of dark spirits on this magical night. This holiday of tricks and treats is as seductive as it is scary, sparking passion and controversy everywhere it is celebrated.
Then you can monster mash and do my graveyard smash.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity in our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
So to consensus, we are all going to see Halloween because Michael Myers is badass.
Some of us enjoy the storytelling of the dog.
He murks enough people.
So he does. So I hear.
Enough people, Bertrand. Like, that would be my boy. If he was real, I'd be like, listen, Michael.
I need some people.
There's some people. There's some. Yeah, I'm going to just give you this list here.
Wow.
Just rip that up when you're done, bro.
Stop it.
No one needs to know. So, yeah. Okay. And I would remember them on Remembrance Day.
And Remembrance Day? Yes, you would.
Let's take it there.
All right. Armistice Day. Well,
what is it called?
Armistice.
I didn't even know that. What does Armistice mean?
I have no clue.
Okay, but it was called Armistice Day before.
Yeah, also known as Remembrance Day.
Okay.
All right. Because of the World War I, which ended on the 11th hour and the 11th day of the 11th month. Of course, to honor the soldiers who fought during World War I during the years of 1914 through to 1918. Right. This is how it started.
I know this story.
Could we put a picture up of Franz Ferdinand, please?
The Archduke.
Yes, the assassination of this man here, Franz Ferdinand, June 8th of 1914, was one of the major factors which led, of course, to an all-out war. So you can imagine, of course, like, I understand in regards to now why a lot of people want to go in and observe, of course, the holidays. Well, this as a holiday. Because there are inclusion's a hell of a thing. And when I say that is this, when you've been not denied the right of inclusion, right, and now you fight for the right of inclusion, sometimes our views, I'm going to say what it is that we should be, of course, wanting to be included in, become miscrewed. Like in this case now, how much are we gonna go ahead and die for a man that, well, like that?
That was really petty. There.
Well, who had, no, but of course, look at it as this, right? I mean, you look at it as our people at that point in time, right? Who are facing our own struggle, right? And because like, yes, they want to feel a part of of America, or the America, so to speak, right? And so they went to war, of course, to go ahead and solidify their position, so they can go ahead and make sure that that person right there that we see underneath here, right, that he didn't die for either in vain or not of vain.
Okay.
Right. So against two powers, the Allies, which at first were the UK, France, and Russia, against the Central Powers, which is Germany, Austria, I should say, Hungary, and Italy, right? Yeah. America itself, right, didn't join until April 6th of 1917, right? Canada, of course, joined along with them as well.
Because they're follow fashion.
Well, little brother does follow big brother,
Don't even have a reason to be there, really. You guys are just there as peacekeepers. Just come out.
It's all
Stay
a game.
Home.
There were some battles that were fought on African soil.
Yes.
Right. French and British troops, they attacked the Germans in Togoland. Germans, of course, they attacked it. They took over Namibia at one point in time as well. You're looking at Southwest Africa.
Yeah.
Right. In my research, they had the audacity to go ahead and use the words German East Africa, which was Burundi, Rwanda, and Tanganyika.
German
right?
East Africa?
German
so they tried to put
East.
Their country?
Yes.
That's cute.
You understand? So I mean, like,
it's quaint.
But you understand, once again, in regards to, like, of course, the mentality they had, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because
colonized.
They were
colonized.
Yeah.
Colonized.
Yeah, they were power. They're superpower, But I mean, like, once again, so the colonization, the splitting up, of course, all the countries, splitting up the people, right? You're looking at, of course, really, when it comes down to fighting a frivolous war. You understand? Like, which we as a people, we had no business. In fact, they had told us we had no business. The Toronto Telegram reports that Black Canadians attempted to enlist in the armed forces, and they are all told, this is not for you fellows. This is a white man's war. We were told that in the newspaper, and still we went ahead, the audacity to go ahead and enlist. Inclusion's a hell of a thing.
Oh boy. So you were told y'all didn't want.
Real talk.
You guys still went ahead.
Yes, inclusion is a hell of a thing.
We want to be part of this.
It breeds confusion, right? It breeds so many things which are terrible for our psyche.
That's crazy.
Could we? I think I have the recruitment poster. Do I have the recruitment poster?
Let's take a look
Please?
at this poster.
There we go.
All right.
So the number 2 construction battalion, right? Didn't see a day. Well, they weren't fighters. However, but they laid the groundwork in order for a supply route to take place. So these Canadians, of course, and once again, because they played such an important role, by means, big up yourself, yes.
Big up yourself, but you weren't wanted there.
But listen, man, Toronto Telegram told us this is not for you.
And we still
this is a white man's war, right? Yeah, of course, that's them right there, the whole brigade, So, I mean, like, you have to big them, of course, for their contributions, right? I think you got a picture of the Harlem Hellfighters. Please fill that up. Thank you. 369th Infantry. These brothers, you have to big them up same way because you know what? The allies, the so-called allies, their war wouldn't have won without these brothers over here. Never lost a ground, never lost an inch.
Kudos.
Right? Fighters to the day. They didn't lose a whole lot of men as well. You know what I mean? So I mean, it comes down to, of course, recognizing, yes, definitely recognizing those who've been through it and been to that struggle. Right, big up Jelly because he comes from a family of soldiers. The Cardi family is large in Canada in regards, of course, to fighting for their country. And yes, we have to big them up.
All right.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, of course, like you said before, they told us it was a white man's war.
And nothing to do with us.
Nothing to do with us. So now we go ahead and observe it because, of course, we wanted to be included.
We wanted to be part of something. Wow. Okay.
Hell of a drug.
But I can still see why maybe Remembrance Day might get a little bit of a big up from me.
Of course, because we're soldiers to the end of the, for a cause, Yeah. But at the end of the day, I mean, like, we fought against people. Of course, yes, they didn't like us, but we fought alongside people that didn't like us, right? Drop of a dime, if they had to go and put a bullet in their head by me, of course they would have.
Yeah.
Right. So, it is what it is, man.
I wouldn't have enlisted. Oh, you don't want me? Okay.
No problem. I'll go home to my family.
I'm going home and take my gun and go home. So where do we go from here?
Good question. We have to begin now to go ahead and observe holidays that speak to our psyche now, right?
Okay.
And speak to our soul.
I like how you said that. That speak to our psyche. I love that.
Right. Kwanzaa, of course, comes to mind by means, and not to say that, they're just new names on rehashed concepts.
Okay.
Right. Because even the observance of first fruits, you can still find this in the Bible. So it's not a new concept. Right. However, though, the observing of first fruits, right, is something that speaks deeply to our concept, our psyche.
Okay.
Right. And it speaks something to our soul because, of course, yes, when first fruits were harvested, yes, we put aside some, of course, in observance for our ancestors. Right. These first fruits now that we continue to observe in the form of our next generation. Right. So, ensuring, of course, they have a better life that most of us had.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, of course, yes, we're trying to go ahead and observe these holidays. Right. If not, find out a little bit more. Because, definitely, you're going to have more and more people, right, who are going to go ahead and observe these holidays. Right. And as we are looking to go ahead and liberate African minds, right, and now to unify the people, these are things now we have to go ahead and begin to understand. What's going on.
Okay.
Right. Another one, which is I just learned this one, which has been around for quite some time, is Moja Karamu. Right. This is Swahili for Moja meaning unity, Karamu being feast. So
Unity feast.
Unity feast.
I like that.
Right. It also was established on the fourth Sunday of November, so it's pretty much your African version of
Thanksgiving.
There we go.
Unity feast. See, that one I might get down with. Do I get the holiday? We have to create it.
Well, you know what?
Can
For
we create
ourselves.
it? We can create it, right?
For ourselves. For ourselves, yes. Because we can't look to them to go ahead and give us the holidays.
They're not going to.
Right? We take the holidays.
Okay.
Right? Because at the end of the day, it shouldn't be about that check. Even if
But
most of us can't afford it, but still, it should not be.
I get what you're saying.
You understand?
I understand.
Cool.
It is, but it shouldn't be.
Exactly. Let's face it. We're in survival mode.
Yeah, we've been
Right?
in survival mode for years.
So, of course, majority of us can't afford it. Just to get back to Mojo Karamu. So it was conceived by brother Edward Sims Jr. of Philadelphia in 1971, and of course, observed and honored since. The ritual is for the black family has been developed as an effort to inject the new meaning of solidarity into the black family through ceremony and symbol. Right? Here's symbol. So it's divided into 5 parts. The first, the black family in the mother country. Right? Second, the slavery horror or the horror of slavery. Right? The period of emancipation. Right? As the third. The struggle for liberation as a fourth. Right? And the fifth, as the black family looking towards a future or at the future.
Okay.
Right? The observing of certain foods and certain days, the colors and so on and so forth. I mean, it's a interesting and it's a well-rounded holiday, which a lot of us.
Time to look into that.
By means,
Yeah.
but as something that we can look forward to as future, right? And we're gonna say, okay, why am I want to do our Thanksgiving? But still, this is something that really you can get down and research this with your family, right? Sit down and say, listen, maybe this is something we want to go ahead and do going forward.
Guys, thanks, Dave.
No worries.
That was, you know what? Honestly, again, you have now archived history that people can look at. So thank you for doing that. It's really appreciated.
No worries. No worries
And
at all.
of course, out there, thank you for the viewers who have watched it, to the ones who are going to watch it. Definitely like, comment, throw your comments up there of any other holidays that you may have heard of, or if you have any more insight on any of the holidays we did talk about. And share. Again, to get this narrative out there, guys, we got to share it.
Yes.
We got to get this out there.
Yes.
So share this. You don't know who this could have impact. You don't know who this could have an effect on,
Real talk.
right? We might get a holiday if we talk about this enough. Real talk, Anisha, though, we could. So, guys, have a wonderful afternoon. We'll definitely be sharing the show out so you
By
guys
all
can
means.
see this.
Yes,
This is important
yes,
so you
very
guys
important to our
understand and
history.
have some context and be able to develop things that are more in aligned with your psyche. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Enjoy the next 2 days of heat because it's going to get cold.
Peace and love, family. Freedom
Peace
is
and
a
love,
must.
everybody. Bye.
Only people with a strong sense of destiny and purpose could have survived what black people experienced and still be striving and thriving today.
You are not defined by the dominant culture. You are defined by God. God made you in God's own image. You are God's child. Stand up and give God the glory for who you are and whose you are.
We must remember that a dream of liberation cannot be deferred indefinitely.
The economy of the black family was based on cooperation rather than competition.
That the slavers began to refer to our homeland as the Black Mother because she seemed to have an inexhaustible supply of children.